everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is the Life of Epiphany. Thank you to all of my amazing subscribers. I really love and appreciate all of the support you've given me so far. And if you see my video for the very first time, give me a chance to win you over. Stay put, watch the video. If you like it, then you can support me by liking and subscribing as well. Today, I just want to talk about the concept of depression, particularly in Africans, amongst Africans, like depression as a child growing up in an African household. Now, a lot of parents do not think that their children are battling depression, especially from a very young age. But I personally think, as an adult, if you are battling depression, it's something that has metamorphosed into the stage that you currently are in. I'm going to give an example. Now, you are a young child. You are in school, you go to school every day, and people make mockery of you. People give you nicknames. They call you several awful things. When you come back home, you also have nicknames amongst your peers, amongst your neighbors. I personally had about 3 nicknames. I'm laughing about it now, but it was not funny then, I promise. I think I had one in school. I try not to think about these things now, because now that I've grown, I'm mostly focused on my growth and on how I can make myself better than dwelling on the things that made me really sad and awful as a child or as a teenager. I also had another nickname. I had about 2 nicknames in my neighborhood. And here is the thing. The people that were often calling me these names were people that were way older than me. These are people that I don't call by their names. I have to attach brother or auntie or uncle because they are elderly. Not elderly in the sense that they are old and wrinkly, but they are older than I am. So when these people come out and say things like this to you, you don't even have the right. You can't even talk back. You don't have the right to talk back. Because if you do, they would punish you. And even your parents would help them punish you as well, because you're not supposed to talk back to an elder. You're not supposed to talk back to someone who's older than you. But they are your first bullies. You have bullies in school. You come back home, you have bullies in your neighborhood. Bullies, older people that are supposed to be setting an example, a good example for you. These are the same people that would berate you. So most times, you actually already start battling emotional turmoil as a child. It's not fair. A lot of parents should please watch out. I don't know how parenting works now. But if you have neighbors or people around you calling your children several names, it doesn't matter if your child is conscious enough to know it's good or bad. Please stop them, because it hurts. And especially because these children cannot talk back, they box up their feelings. And when you box up feelings, you only burst. You cannot keep so much inside. Now, so you're battling school. Most people are lucky though. When they go to school, they are like the popular students, so they really have nothing to worry about. But then if you are not a popular student, and maybe you're one of those students that people like to pick on, you tend to feel depressed and sad, especially when you have to go to school. That's why most children are very excited when it's a school-free day. Now, I feel like depression starts from our household because of the things that our parents allow. Now, it took me a long time to come to the conclusion that you cannot expect something from people that were not trained to provide the kind of love that we want. Now, I believe our parents, not just our parents, also the people that we grew up with, who were like our elders, like our neighbors, they were in an era, sorry for using the word era, because it makes it seem like you're from the Stone Age, but they are from the time that where they were not given permission to express how they feel. They were not given permission to express love, especially. So you barely see an African parent tell their child that they love them. My dad tells me he loves me, but honestly, I don't think I grew up hearing those words from him. So when he tells me now, it's awkward. I'm like, oh. I mean, I love it too. Do I say it? Oh, no, I try to run away from that scene because I really don't know how to react, and I don't want to sound like, like a like, oh gosh, don't say this to me. So I try to always appreciate every single affection that they show towards me, because I know it's not something that they were trained to be able to show. So I don't think I know it hurts, but the reality of things is they were not raised with the capacity to show the kinds of emotion that we now show freely. So the good thing about this new period where people are very emotional and they're not scared to show how they feel is our parents can learn. They can learn from what they see. And before you become a parent, it doesn't matter if it's your child, before you actually have someone under you, you need to also learn how to be a good guardian to that person. Now, there are several things that makes a Nigerian child very depressed before they grow up into adults with that same depression pattern following them. No one tells you how difficult it is after your secondary school education. It is I think that was the first time I fell into depression. After secondary school education, I wasn't lucky to go into the university very early. I mean, I would pass my JAM, so don't think I'm a dullard, no. But then I wanted to study a particular course, but I just never made the cut-off mark for that course. So I think I spent about 2+ years at home. Now, during that period, I had friends that had already gone into the university, and I am aware. Now, even though I'm very happy for those people, it makes me feel sad for myself, because what's going on? Why can't I just get an admission into school? It also got to the point where I thought maybe I don't really need to go to school. I just need to do something with my life. But what? I had no idea. Now, no one would prepare you for how hard it is for you to gain admission, and the struggle, the emotional struggle, the entire thing would cost you. Some of our parents don't understand that just because we are young, we go through depression, or just because we are young, we are actually sad. It's why when as a child or as a young child or a teenager, you start to stare into thin air without talking, or maybe you're lost in thoughts, they would often ask you, what's going on? What are you thinking about? You're not paying bills, you don't have children. What could you possibly be thinking about? There are a myriad, millions of things to think about. I'm thinking about maybe a crush I had or I have that doesn't like me back. I'm thinking about understanding the changes on my body. I'm thinking about understanding the feelings I have over some, which is weird because understand these things, Nigerian parents, whether you like it or not, your children will develop feelings at some time. It's what we call crush. It doesn't necessarily last. It doesn't necessarily turn into something negative. It's just a small phase in life. Now, a lot of children cannot go to their parents to share this information with them and not be punished or not be told, don't do that, you should not do that. Some parents would even tell their kids, if they're female children, if someone touches you, you will get pregnant. Come on. If you don't educate your children right, they would easily be influenced by someone else. They would easily be influenced negatively, because if you don't give them the right information, then they have no information at all. They are completely barren, a dry land, nothing is in them. So you tell them the truth. This is what happens when you do this. There are repercussions, there are consequences to everything. And here are the consequences. Also, make yourself available for your children to come and meet you and have discussions about how they feel to you. I also don't know why Nigerian parents do this. And trust me, when I say Nigerian parents, I'm not necessarily referring to my parents. I'm talking about Nigerian parents at large, because I've spoken to so many people in the past. I also have friends that will tell me oftentimes that when they express something to one parent, at the end of the day, they realize that parent shares it with the other one. And it's weird. I want to say that I'm blunt, but I'm not, because I take into consideration people's feelings a lot, which is something I'm not going to change for anything. But what I'm trying to understand is, why do you always have to share every information with your partner? Do you not have something else to talk about? See, if someone can actually explain why parents do this, if you're a parent yourself, can you explain why you do it in the comment section so I can have maybe a better understanding? You cannot be having a casual conversation with your child and then they tell you things, possibly something they would not tell you ideally, but then they share these things with you because they feel lost in the entire emotion of the conversation. And then you share this information with your partner, like your husband or your wife. More often times they would even call meetings to tell you, oh, this is what you said. You feel let down, you feel disappointed. Nigerian parents, you need to stop a lot of things. You actually need to stop a lot of things. It's turning your kids away from you. I had to, just like, I don't know if I've said this before, but I had to learn that people, yes, I think I've said this before, that they were not trained in the way that our emotions right now are so much different. Now we are more bold. We talk about how we feel. We have music to help us. We listen to music and we hear people talk about how they feel about music. We're able to express ourselves on social media platforms. We're able to express ourselves everywhere. And I can see that our parents are also following suit as well. As a child, especially after my secondary school education, what helped me the most was music. But then it was not also a very good thing because I was specifically sorting out emotional songs so I could cry. I think crying is therapeutic because after crying I feel so much lighter. I feel like a load has been taken off my chest and I'm ready to go face the world. So crying is not something that I would tell people not to do. If I see someone crying, I always encourage them to cry their eyes out. After crying, when you have nothing left to cry about, you have to face whatever the problem is squarely. That's it. So I would always encourage people, whatever you feel. If you feel like crying, if you feel like hitting things, well, don't go hit something you cannot replace. But if you feel like crying or doing anything, please do, as long as it helps you within that emotional state. It helps you and helps you progress into feeling better. I also engaged in talking on social media. Honestly, I'm very lucky I never fell into like the wrong people or fell into the wrong hands because I was on so many social media platforms and I was having conversations with so many people. Maybe I'll talk about my social media frenzy days. But then I was on a lot of social media sites like Nimbus, Ibudi, To Go. Everyone knows To Go. I was on Bado. I was on a lot of places, and I promise I was not on any of those places because I was seeking to meet anyone. I enjoyed being in the bedroom, talking to someone that has absolutely no idea who I am or what I do or what I'm doing in that very state, and just have conversations. You can decide to reflect on life. You can also decide to bear your emotions to that person, and because they don't know you, they would never use it against you. Most times people are afraid to share how they feel with their friends or people around them because once these people have a hold of that emotion, you become susceptible. That's the truth. If you are lucky and you have amazing friends that would not treat you, that would not use the things that you say to them against you, then great. But if you're not certain, I would advise you keep it to yourself. And if you feel choked with all of the emotions you're bottling inside, then you should please reach out to organizations that you can speak to. There are so many helplines that we have now in Nigeria that where you can call, you can speak with a professional, which is even better because then they will give you unbiased reaction. You speak with a professional and then you tell them how you feel, and then they can give you amazing feedback as well. I think it's best. I'm going to be dropping some of the helplines or the hotlines on the description after this video as well. So I was able to heal myself using music. When I went to the university eventually, I had amazing friends that also helped me, and then I realized that, wow, I'm not actually a loner. I do enjoy social things because I initially thought I like to be indoors all the time. But then even though I enjoy being indoors, I started to crave going outdoors as well. So now I'm like in between. I have my indoor moments and I also have my outdoor moments as well, which is a perfect mix of everything. So, but no one actually would prepare you for life after university. No one will prepare you for how crazy and difficult it is for you to find a job. I hope I never get to share that story here. Now, even when you get a job, no one would prepare you for how difficult it is for you to keep that job, because you are dispensable. You should understand this. Your workplace can easily change you at any point in time, and they have someone already ready to take that position. So you can also choose to leave a little while you work. Do your job, do your best to the best of your abilities if you have a job, and then you can also try to live life, because life is short. It is. No one would also prepare you for of the idea that adulthood basically means you have to be responsible for the people that were once responsible for you. Now you see a lot of people, adults, that have families taking their lives. It's because now they have responsibilities that they cannot even take care of. Imagine a situation where you have families, you have a family, a wife or kids, or maybe a husband and children, and you're unable to cater for their basic needs. It takes, honestly, Nigerians, we are very strong. We are very, I don't know how we do it. I really do not know how we do it, but somehow we make it work. I still strongly believe that the stage of this depression that a person gets to as an adult or as a teenager starts from a very small age. So please, I'm imploring on all parents, be watchful of the things you say to your children. Be watchful and guide the way other people around you also talk to your children. You don't always have to punish them right in front of the people that they've insulted or offended. You could always call them aside and say, well, this is wrong. You don't say these things. You can practice gentle parenting. I'm not saying don't flog or beat your kids. To be honest, that's not really our problem, because my parents beat my ass a lot. But when I think about all the times where I feel mad at them, it's never because they beat me. It's about the other part, the emotional part. So I think parents should try to be more emotionally available for their kids. I know it's difficult for you to open up if it's not something you're already used to, but you have to try, because if you set a wrong pattern for your child, they would equally follow that same pattern and set it for their children, and then we have a very long chain of generational problems. Well, it can start with you. You can end it. If you are going through depression and because of anything, it doesn't matter what it is, please reach out to someone. It doesn't necessarily change how you feel. It doesn't change your situation, but it takes off that load. Because when you become too overwhelmed, like all of your feelings are already choking you, you start to think maybe the best thing at this point in time is just to no longer exist, to no longer have to worry about those things. So even if you cannot speak with your immediate friends because you don't know how they would take the situation or how they would treat you afterwards, you can talk to complete strangers. You can call, there are call lines I'm going to drop, just like I said, but then you can speak with other people. Sometimes I like to make other friends just so I can have people I could talk to as well. Although I do tell my friends things, but it's not everything I necessarily have to put out there at that particular time. It's eventually I would then say, oh, this is what happened at this point in time. This is what happened. And they're like, oh, why didn't you tell me? I'm like, I'm sorry, I was going through something and I could not share. There's so many reasons a person can be depressed. Too many for me to even mention here. But I just want you to know that you are not alone. You are not alone. So please share how you feel. Talk to someone. Talk to anybody. Get that weight off your chest because you matter. Okay? And I also want to call on Nigerian parents once more before I say goodbye. Please, be watchful of the things you say to your children. I strongly still believe that this is a pattern that starts from a very, very young age and then it just continues. So please stop it, okay? And that's basically it. I really hope you enjoyed today, the concept of what I had to share today. So if you like what you've heard, if there's more things that you would like to talk about, if there's anything you want me to talk about, please mention in the comment section as well. And if you have more information or you want to talk more about depression as an African child or growing in an African household, you can also let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much for all of your love and support. Bye.